What's up, horse racing fans? Welcome to another special episode of the Inside Post here for Kentucky Derby Week. Looking ahead for the Run for the Roses in the first Saturday. In May, we have the big Kentucky Derby. And in this episode, we will be giving you our long shots that can win the Kentucky Derby. Everybody loves a good long shot. Looking back, we had Mage last year, Rich Strike the year before. What price horses this year can bring in that big money for you if you are that long shot better? Of course, we know we have a couple of the favorites: Sierra Leone, Fierceness, Catching Freedom. We want big prices. Let's dive into this race 12 Kentucky Derby field. All right, let's look. Door knock number one, Inside Post. Say what you want. This horse is probably going to go to the lead at 20-1 with Luis Saez for Danny Gargan. Very interesting. This horse was early on favorited to win the Kentucky Derby after its Remsen big win there. Comes out and then goes into the Fountain of Youth. Wins again at big odds or low odds, heavily bet. Then comes back in the Bluegrass and gets beat by several other competitors in here. The race just set up for Sierra Leone perfectly. But Dornock at 20-1 looks like a horse that's going to go to the lead. And definitely could be a big spoiler in here. We've seen horses wire the field before. One to take into consideration. So number one, right out of the gate, Dornock, if he can get off to an early lead, maybe plays spoiler and wires the field at a big price. Number 8, not a bigger priced horse, but horse may not take a lot of money in here, is Just a Touch. Probably one of the lighter raced horses and probably a horse that's getting a lot of buzz right now. Looking at the sire, we got Justify out of Scat Daddy. Touching Beauty is the dam with the Tap It on top of that. This one is trained by Brad Cox, gets a Florent Giroux aboard. Florent Giroux, one of the very best, it seems like, in the Kentucky Derby races, hitting the top 4, so making the podium, if you would, second, third, fourth. This horse is improving dramatically off its 3 starts. Looking back, breaking its maiden, goes into the Gotham as the heavy favorite there, gets beat out by Deterministic. Comes back, improves yet again, finishing second to Sierra Leone in that Bluegrass, and then steps in here to the Kentucky Derby, kind of off of the same situation as we saw last year with Mage. Was beat out again last year, beat out by Forte, who unfortunately missed the Derby. But we have Just a Touch coming in, getting beat by Sierra Leone, who will probably be co-favorite with Fierceness. So definitely interesting at 10-1, and a horse that's won a race or been second. Looks to be able to sit off the pace a little bit, maybe going to press a little in here. I think the horse is set up perfectly, especially in the 8 hole. Has some early speed to be able to get out of the gate early. Definitely one to watch as far as odds go. Again, I think a lot of these other horses are going to take money. This one will probably stay around this 10-1 mark. 12-1 is beautiful for the odds of Just a Touch. Even 8-1, this one is definitely worth a shot and probably a horse that you got to take in consideration into your exactas and trifectas. Definitely has some early speed. A horse that's getting better with each start. Workouts look pretty good. Trained again by Brad Cox. Qatar Racing is the owner. This one is setting up perfectly in here. The pedigree lines up as well. Just 20 other horses that this one's going to have to beat. Forever Young, another one, 10-1 mark. Pretty good odds. If you are watching this horse's workouts, you either have a question mark. If you go back and watch the Saudi or the UAE Derby, you may like this horse. Definitely coming out of the Saudi Cup, running into somewhat of a little trouble with Bookham Dano in there. Was able to run him down. And then UAE Derby kind of just set itself up to come over here and run. I think this horse is not going to get much attention just because people are kind of big question marks on the Japan horses shipping over. The other big question mark is his last workouts just looks completely off. And that's typical of the Japanese horses. Their training styles, workout styles are a lot different than what we're used to seeing. So when we see the horse step on the track the way it has, yes, it kind of flags some of the bettors. But Definitely a probable contender in here. If the horse goes down to single digits, probably not worth it. But I like it at double digit odds in here to be somewhat of a good long shot pick. Next, you have domestic product. Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz gets aboard this horse for the first time. Comes in off of a win in the Tampa Bay Derby. Probably a classless Tampa Bay Derby. Not much in there. Grandmo the First comes out of there as well. But, you know, you have Irad, Chad Brown teaming up. This is out of Practical Joke into Mischief for Klarovich Stables. Definitely interesting. I mean, anytime you get Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz at 30-1 or better, you got to take a stab in here. The horse was improving coming out of the Holy Bull, ran a big 87, came second to Hades in that race, and then goes into the Tampa Bay Derby. I believe it was one of the favorites in there, and wins in there coming from off the pace just a little bit. So pace scenario probably sets up pretty decent for domestic product. Just going to be a lot of traffic to work through. And again, the class from what the horse is used to running, probably nothing compared to the likes of Fierceness, Sierra Leone in their primes, and some of these others like Catching Freedom, Forever Young, and Just a Touch. So definitely one to watch. Going to have to take a big step forward, but again, the connections alone are worth a $5 win wager on this horse at big odds. And lastly, we got Epic Ride number 21, who will draw in with the scratch of Encino today, Tuesday. So Epic Ride is now in the Kentucky Derby. Crazy enough, Encino was the horse that beat Epic Ride in the John Battaglia, kind of booting it from the Kentucky Derby trail. The horse finished third in the Bluegrass behind Sierra Leone and Just a Touch, getting just enough points to be considered for an also eligible. And look here, Adam Beschizza, John Enos are in this race right now for Welsh Racing as the owners. Definitely a very interesting horse. We saw what Turfway shippers have been able to do. Recently, Rich Strike, of course, we know, was that a fluke situation? Who knows? But I think this race could set up fairly well for Epic Ride to sit just off the pace. Will draw in on the outside here, so should not be any issues there. Beschizza has been on this horse several times. The workouts have been kind of hit or miss, but it seems like always have to play into consideration these also eligibles when they draw in, because sometimes they're overlooked. So definitely one that has definitely ran in some big races. The Leonidas at John Battaglia steps into the Bluegrass Grade 1 and runs third in there with some heavy company. So a horse that's, you know, in good form right now, career best 90 speed figure in that Bluegrass at 30-1. Why not take a shot in here? I feel like this is a very open Kentucky Derby, kind of like it was last year, and we saw what Mage was able to do at a big price. So take a stab, take a shot. We got plenty of big long shot prices in here. Those are kind of our big ones that we're kind of watching right now for a win wager. Take these into consideration to use underneath as well if you have a favorite that you are using. But these horses look pretty good on paper and pretty good at a very big price. We hope you wager with us and kind of watch some of our videos that we will be releasing here soon of the Kentucky Oaks, our Kentucky Derby finale, and the Kentucky Oaks and Derby cards, the full cards for each of our bets on each race for this fantastic weekend of racing at Churchill Downs. We hope you subscribe down below. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Get us there before the Kentucky Derby, and we will celebrate together. We hope you enjoy this video and you win big on Derby Day.